all the Romanian companies that are interested to connect with potential clients or partners in the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and it will provide an overview about the key aspects of doing business and investing in the Netherlands. Before we start, let's go quickly through the technical rules. Please keep your mic on mute to avoid their spitting feedback. And if you have any questions, kindly address them in the chat box and they will be read at the end of the webinar. And now let's give a warm welcome to the NRCC President, Serge Offers. Hello, Serge.
Thank you, Karina. And hey everybody, I would like to warmly welcome all the participants to the opening of this 4th edition of Explore Doing Business in the Netherlands. Like Karina already mentioned, this multi-day event intends to provide an overview of the key aspects of doing business and investing in the Netherlands by means of practical presentations, some case studies and some statistics. The speakers will try to offer you valuable insights to the question every foreign business or entrepreneur might have when targeting to enter the Dutch market. Although we would have really liked and really have preferred to organize the sessions face-to-face, also to allow some informal networking of the companies contemplating to do business in the Netherlands, we unfortunately had to move online again. This was, however, still much preferred to cancelling the event, as the NRCC and the board believes there are many opportunities for Romanian companies to do business or invest in the Netherlands. Maybe let's have a look at what you can expect this week. Together with several members of the NRCC, we have, what I believe, created an exciting program covering many of the topics that you can expect when contemplating to move to the Netherlands. And I will briefly go through the different webinars that are planned. Tomorrow, on the 7th of December, Mazar will provide a tax update, which will start at 11:30. This will follow at 1:30 by HR practices in the Netherlands, which is a session that will be facilitated by Lucera and Makler. After that, on the next day, on the 8th of December, we're shifting to understanding relevant Dutch legislation, which will be hosted by BBW Law, while in the afternoon, Ewout van den Engel will focus on increasing the awareness of cultural differences on the work floor. I will try to refrain from sharing some of my own experience here. As being a Dutch guy working now for 3.5 years in Romania, I have many of my own observations, and I could tell many of the different aspects how Dutch people behave in the Netherlands, but I will let Ewout further elaborate on that. But I'm looking forward to the discussion of that session, as it's a way for myself also to look a bit in the mirror. On the final day of this event, which will take on the 10th of December, we will be joined by the Romanian Embassy in the Netherlands and the Dutch-Romanian network. In the morning, the embassy will elaborate on the role they play to support Romanian business expanding their activities to the Netherlands, while in the afternoon, the DRN, which is, if you don't know them, effectively a sister organization of the NRCC with which we collaborate in the Netherlands, will explain what kind of network opportunities there are and how you can stay connected while doing business abroad. I would like to thank each of the aforementioned members for contributing to the success of this event, and their input is highly appreciated, as without them we could not have organized this 4th edition of Doing Business in the Netherlands. If you have not registered for any of these webinars yet, please do not hesitate. You can still do it today or even join the meetings on the coming days via Zoom. This first webinar today is co-hosted by the Dutch Embassy in Romania and the Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency. Stefan, who is in the Dutch Embassy focusing at developing Dutch-Romanian economic relationships, will provide an overview of the key industries in the Netherlands after I have finalized the introduction. Nekla, who is a country director for the investment agency, will then take over from him to further elaborate on how investments in the Netherlands work and highlight some of the key opportunities they have identified for Romanian companies. I will not take more time with my introduction because I think the real meat of this session is with Stefan and Nekla. So with further ado, I would like to hand over to Stefan. I hope everybody enjoys the sessions. Let's try to make it a lively one with Q&A. Maybe do the Q&A in the chat function, or maybe reach out to Karina so that she can ask the questions. And I'm also looking forward to the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. I will stay on during the whole webinar, so I'm also available at the end to take any of your questions. With that, maybe Stefan, may I hand over to you?
Good morning, and thank you for the introduction, Sergey. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, my name is Stefan Uriok. I am an economic policy officer with the Embassy of the Netherlands in Romania. It's my pleasure to deliver this short address today on behalf of the Embassy. The network of Dutch embassies is committed to supporting entrepreneurs in finding their way to market, finding appropriate local partners, facilitating stakeholder and decision makers connections, and troubleshooting issues in relation to public authorities and businesses, business to business. We are closely collaborating with the Romanian Embassy in the Netherlands, the NRCC, as well as the Dutch Romanian Network, NRCC's counterpart in the Netherlands, in organizing seminars and events that provide early market access information. Now, my short introduction today will go briefly into a few key elements of the relationship between the Netherlands and Romania. And I will not go into a deeper dive into the sectors, because I believe Nekla has a very comprehensive presentation and a lot of interesting details that she can give about how to do business in the Netherlands and what are these sectors looking like in a more pragmatic way. But let me just say that the economic relations between the Netherlands and Romania are some of the strongest in the EU. We've seen the trade between the two countries registering a general increasing trend. In 2020, it summed up to more than 5 billion euro. The trade balance, although it is in favor of the Netherlands currently, is slowly balancing, with Romania's export to the Netherlands registering higher growth rates year on year, especially in the services category. As you all know, the IT services that Romania provides are a very good export product, and many companies, also Dutch, come to Romania and set up business centers here that serve both the local market in the Netherlands, but also international markets, serving them from the Romanian offices. Talking of services, these make up around 1/3 of the trade volumes, while agricultural goods, machinery, chemicals and pharmaceuticals are some of the most traded goods between the two countries. It's worth noting this because these are sectors or elements of the economy that make a good contribution to the trade between the two countries. Therefore, they are also good investment opportunities for businesses looking to expand abroad. You will hear more, as I said, about the key sectors in the Netherlands from Nekla Gunay, from the Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency, which I'm sure you will hear more about in a few minutes, what this agency is and how it works. Expanding your business to the Netherlands means to become part of an established, open ecosystem where businesses, research institutes, and universities work together on groundbreaking innovations. The Netherlands has a multitude of knowledge parks where specific organizations and institutes generally gather together. In addition, the regional development agencies, as well as other government partners, provide you with a gateway into the business ecosystem. So there's plenty of support. Acting as your go-to partner, these organizations offer the support that matches the commitment that you as a businessman or businesswoman have to international growth. These services include free confidential services to give your business a head start. With foreign direct investments, which is basically what this is, doing business abroad, foreign direct investments, companies can quickly acquire and develop new products and technologies. You meet a new market and you can sell your existing products to these new markets. Companies that expand into foreign markets can realize significant growth, which is a well-known fact. Moreover, exposure to more than one country also enhances diversification, and foreign companies operating in new markets can be targets for direct investments themselves, creating opportunities for investors and growth. The past 2 years have been indeed difficult for companies and investors looking to settle abroad, with global foreign direct investment volumes registering a slowdown. While in the Netherlands, the COVID situation is generally under control, new infection waves pose challenges to operating businesses, especially in their early days. Recognizing this risk, the Dutch government is providing support to businesses that have been impacted by the COVID pandemic restrictions, and also intensifies its efforts in providing a safe environment for doing business. We all learn in these 2 years, I think we've all learned that doing business differently and exploring new markets differently, be it in your own country, can be surprisingly difficult, challenging, but also very rewarding when it succeeds. In closing, I'd like to thank you again for your interest in setting up a business in the Netherlands. And hopefully the coming days will provide you with sufficient knowledge to make this a reality. If there are any questions, I would just like to reiterate what Sergio was saying earlier. Please let us know in the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to answer these. So maybe just to give back the floor to Krina, probably, and then she will introduce Nekla for her presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you very much for your presentation. And now I would like to introduce you to Nekla Gunay, Country Director of Turkey, Romania, Croatia, and Bulgaria, Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency, who will talk in detail about why and how to invest in the Netherlands and about investment chances in the Netherlands for Romanian companies. Nekla, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Also, thanks for both colleagues who gave an introduction on the situation also in the Netherlands right now. Today, I'm not alone. My colleague, Mr. Yavuz Selim Yaşar, is also with us. Last year, I gave the presentation. This year, I asked him to join me. So I will start giving a couple of slides and leave the floor to him. Also to give him a chance to introduce himself to many other companies in Romania. So Joost, could you please share your slides? Thank you. Next slide, please. Yes. So my colleagues already introduced me, but my name is Nekla Gunay, and I know I have a very difficult name. So Nekla is also fine. I'm the director of the investment department at the Dutch consulate. The name is the Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency. However, we are the official investment promotion agency for the Netherlands. We are an operational unit of Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs, which means that we are fully 100% a government organization. We have actually, it says 130 people, but we are growing very fast. So we have over 150 people across NFVA headquarters in The Hague. But we also have even more than 29 offices, so I think almost 35 offices abroad. We are all located within the Dutch embassies or the consulates all over the 35 countries. In Turkey, for example, we are located in Istanbul at the Dutch consulate because the industry is mainly here located in Istanbul. We are established in 1978. We are the founding partner of the Invest in Holland network, which means that we have around 16 regional and economic development agencies in most of the large cities in the Netherlands. What we do is we assist companies fully confidential and free of charge with their investment plans in the Netherlands or expansion plans in the Netherlands. Next, please. So these are the abroad offices. All abroad. We have now newly opened also an office in Germany to help companies in Germany. As Turkey office, since last year, we're also supporting companies from Romania, Bulgaria, and Croatia. We are not located yet there, but we are exploring to see if there are potential investors in those countries to give them a free of charge and confidential support with their investments. Next, please. This is our small yet powerful team. Joost, I will give the floor lately to Joost, but we also have a junior project manager who's also helping small-scale companies. So if you are planning to invest in the Netherlands, or you don't know where to start, please feel free to contact one of us. You can find us on LinkedIn or on Twitter. But Joost will also give his contact details later, so you can also directly contact him. I think those were my slides. Joost, can I give the floor to you?
Yes, thank you, Isla. You're most kind. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Joost, as mentioned, and I'm the senior project manager in NFA Turkey and the Balkans office. I'm working for NFA for 2.5 years, and before that, I worked for Netherlands Innovation Network, also based in Istanbul for 2 years. So nearly 5 years I'm working for the Dutch government. And now we are here to explain you a little bit why invest in the Netherlands, basically. So first, some basic facts. Well, the Netherlands is a parliamentary democracy and constitutional monarchy, and the euro, of course, zone, and the population is 17 million, and the capital is Amsterdam. So why the Netherlands? It's always asked by the investors, and why is the Netherlands one of the top locations in the Northern Europe? So there are a lot of different reasons, answers to that question, but we can sum up with 6 major points. One is that the Netherlands is the #1 transport infrastructure, has the #1 transport infrastructure in entire European Union, with the connectivity and the access to land, train, sea, and other road points. The Netherlands has the #1 transport infrastructure in the entire European Union. And also, it's told that the Netherlands is the #1, the most connected country worldwide. The connectedness is both physically and digitally, which I will explain later on. And the Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam is the second-ranked European airport in terms of direct and indirect flights, which is really combined with the first and second reason, basically. And the Netherlands is the has a third-ranked international tax system worldwide, which makes the country really interesting for investors. And being the #4 most competitive economy in the world, and which basically, because of the last but not the least reason, is it is the most 5th innovative country in the world, depending on various different rankings, which you can see below. And like mentioned in the previous speeches, Netherlands has a focused strategy on different sectors, which we call top sectors. And there are variety of different sectors, which we can say life sciences and health, for example, is really important in the Netherlands ecosystem, being the European Medicine Agency relocated to Amsterdam recently, which made the Netherlands with one of the top spots for life sciences and health investments. Agri-food, of course, Netherlands is famous for the agriculture, the technology, and the distribution of the agri-food for the entire world, which really Netherlands is called the tiny world, tiny country feeding the world. I think that's really fits the meaning. And of course, information technology is, well, it's basically covers every area. So it's also another top sector for us. Chemicals, high-tech systems and materials, creative industries, energy, and airspace. These are the 8 top sectors that the Dutch government focuses on with different support mechanisms, and which might be really interesting for the companies who are active in one of those areas. Okay, these are sectors. That's great, and let's take a deep look on why basically the companies will love it here. The first one is the business climate. The Netherlands has a really top-notch business climate that you can connect, and which will help you to boost your international, European, and worldwide expansion. The strategic location is very important. That the Netherlands is basically very easy to reach a huge number of customers in a very short time frame, which makes it a really strategic country to focus on. The extensive infrastructure, the physical infrastructure and the digital infrastructure makes it easier for your establishments or for your, let's say, digital business to expand fast enough, thanks to the extensive infrastructure. The fiscal climate, especially the tax climate is in the Netherlands is very investor friendly, which maybe we can discuss it later on. And actually, that's really very important. The fifth one is the highly skilled labor force, because all of us know, the labor force and trying to access to that highly skilled labor force is one of the most tough situations for the entire world. Actually, the labor force is really scarce, and it's really hard to reach that. And it is really important to be able to find that labor in a very convenient way, an easy way. It is one of the most important aspects why the Netherlands is a very critical country for investment. And of course, the political and economic stability is very important for investments to flourish. And Netherlands really provides a politically and an economically stable environment. The exceptional quality of life is also another good reason, because when you expand to a different country, it is most of the time it's really hard to convince your very critical employees to, hey, there is that country, let's go there and expand. But it is not always the most, let's say, friendly environment for a newcomer. But on the contrary, the Netherlands provides a really exceptional quality of life, and it is not very hard to convince a really critical employee to let's say, go to the Netherlands and work for your business in that regard. And of course, the innovative sectors, the innovative approach and the top sectors approach is really helping the companies who really wants to make a change in the world with some innovative technologies. I think that makes the Netherlands a very critical location for them, with that innovative approach to the sectors, top sector policies. It is a really interesting location. So let's elaborate on those topics a little bit more. Like we said, the Netherlands is in a really critical location. So in 500 kilometers, you will be able to reach 170 million consumers within a 500 kilometers radius, which is a really amazing opportunity to expand exponentially. And like stated before, the connectivity in the Netherlands is amazing. We call it 3 main ports: for air, data, and sea. For air, the Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, the sea, the Rotterdam port is one of the main hubs for sea transport and logistics. And data, Amsterdam Data Exchange is one of the most reliable and strong data ports of the entire European mainland. So these 3 main ports that we say really makes the backbone of the connectivity and the infrastructure of the Netherlands as a whole. So that makes the number like this main ports makes it the first entry point in Europe for overseas productions, and also it makes the most strongest logistics sector with the #1 logistics hub in Europe, both in air and sea wise. And also the cost, regarding the cost, when we see the, let's say, the neighbors of the Netherlands, we as the Netherlands have a competitive cost advantage for labor, real estate, and also the transport costs, which makes it a really interesting alternative for other big neighbors of the Netherlands. And last but not the least, of course, like mentioned before, the world-class and competitive business environment like no VAT payment at import and many other things. In addition to that, it makes it really interesting for the companies to make the Netherlands as their foothold for their global expansion. Yeah, like in another angle to the previous slide, when you can see it in 500 kilometers radius, you can reach 170 million, and when you make it double 1,000 kilometers, it just you can be able to reach 244 million consumers in a very short notice. Well, like I mentioned before, the competitive tax rate is really interesting, and we as the Netherlands are stimulating entrepreneurship and foreign investments with some tax advantages. And the tax rate, which most probably will be covered in maybe later on with some other sessions as well from the experts. But in general speaking, we have a competitive corporate tax rate of 25%, and on the first 245,000 is will be based on 15% of the corporate tax rate, which is a really competitive rate. For when you see the map on the right side, you can see the neighboring countries and the situation on those topic. And also there is innovation box, which is really interesting if you are focusing on R&D activities, innovation activities, because with that you can easily apply to innovation box in the Netherlands, and as a result you can get an effective tax rate of only 9% for those innovation activities. And also there are another tax incentives, R&D focused tax incentives, of course, which I will explain later on. And for your expats, for your, like I mentioned, key personnel that you want to locate in the Netherlands, we have a really favorable tax treatment for those expats with a 30% tax ruling exemption. The R&D incentives there are, and also the other incentives that makes a selection of national incentives. We call the very first one is WBSO, which is a tax incentive scheme for compensation for part of the company's research and development activities, which includes wage costs and expenditures. And so basically in practice with that, when you are focusing on R&D in the Netherlands, you can apply for WBSO and get some funding from those, like not direct funding, but you will reduce your payroll tax burden for those activities in cost and expenditures base. And innovation box, like I mentioned before, which will give you an effective tax rate for only 9% for the profits derived from your intangible assets. So basically it is connected to the WBSO and innovation box. WBSO gives you some reduced cost for expenditures and other costs, and innovation box give you from those profits a really effective tax rate of 9%. And also the 30% ruling, like I mentioned before, can be covered for your expats who will be located in the Netherlands with a 30% of income tax exemption, which will make you, which will help you to, let's say, provide more income for those personnel, which will make you, let's say, convince more highly skilled personnel in the job market as well. Well, speaking of job market, the quality of talent is really, really important aspect when you are talking about international and global expansion. And Netherlands is a really good location in that regard. We have a really skilled workforce. 32% of the work market has a master's or even a bachelor degree, and number one worldwide on the EF English Proficiency Index. So which makes, I think it's I don't know, it's 90% here, but I think it's higher than 93 or something of the Dutch employees, Dutch people, let's say, can speak fluent English. And in addition to that, nearly 30% of the country can speak French at a conversational level. So which makes it the Dutch workforce is really highly productive, flexible, and also the ecosystem is really favorable for labor cost with a really low strike rate, which makes it a more provides a smoother at least business environment for your investment. So, well, let's dive deep on that and see how this workforce basically generated. Well, we can see that there are very highly popular and successful universities all around the Netherlands. A majority of them are technical universities, which are focusing on technological developments, and which makes it a really good labor market for highly skilled technical employees as well. And like mentioned before, the Netherlands is a hotbed for science and innovation. And how this is possible? Basically, it is because of these science and innovation parks that we are really proud of. In Netherlands, there are, in many cities, there are different science and innovation parks, which you can be a part of easily. So basically, these campuses are focusing on different sectors, and they provide a really good ecosystem, access to know-how and access to strategic labor market, and the critical network. So it is a really important step for a company to, let's say, broaden the vision of science and innovation in those areas. I think that's really important. And so that's really what makes Netherlands special at most, because it doesn't matter if you are in the Netherlands, but if you are not fully benefiting those science and innovation parks, if you are really focusing on science and R&D activities, and at least if you are planning in the near future. And the digital infrastructure, we talked about a lot of physical infrastructure and the other business aspects, but the digital infrastructure is really interesting in the Netherlands. And the Netherlands houses the world's third largest internet exchange, Amsterdam Exchange, and that direct connection to all major exchanges. And there are nearly 1,000 networks are connected within this exchange. So that really makes the Netherlands is basically the junction, the connection point for the entire digital network in the mainland Europe. And this hub, so it makes like a hub of intercontinental connections also. So 11 of 15 transatlantic sea cables just came ashore in the Netherlands and directly connect to that network. That's why the Netherlands is called the most connected country in the world. Well, and in the nearly entire households, like 96% of the Dutch households have broadband connections, high-speed connections. And especially for the companies who are really focusing on data sciences and data, there are nearly 15 data centers per 1 million inhabitants. And it's when you compare it to the neighbors, like Belgium is this rate is 6.5, and United Kingdom 6.5 as well. Germany is 5, and France is only 4, and in the Netherlands this number is nearly 15. So if you are working with data, Netherlands is the place that you should be. And with all these topics gathered, it makes in the EU, the Netherlands is the #1 country which makes the use of IT among other members. And also in the world, this infrastructure is the 3rd. And the quality of life is also really important for investment decisions, because investment is not it is not important if when you invest, when you do not have, or when you don't when you are struggling to convince your critical employees, critical personnel to relocate. It's really a tough situation for such companies in that decision-making process. But the Netherlands in that regard is a really advantageous country, and the quality of life is really high, and the Netherlands is the 6th happiest place on earth, and the healthcare system and the free education is really interesting, and the standard of living high, but the cost of living is lower than most of the European, let's say, big cities. So that's also another plus. And the regional expat desks are offering an amazing practical support and covering pretty much every aspect of a, let's say, relocation period for you or your employee. Like when you can see there are really near 9 different expat centers, and those expat centers can support international companies for their international employees, expats, by offering really fast and easy processes for government formalities, and they help from establishing the basics to even selecting international schools for the kids and other practical help. From critical to practical, in many aspects, those centers can help your employees or yourself very fast and easy. In the beginning of Nejla's presentation, she mentioned the network, which we are providing support free of charge and fully confidential. But we are not doing it alone. We called ourselves Invest in Holland, and Invest in Holland network, and that network consists of different partners. Well, we are the founding partner of this network, but in addition to NFA, there are regional development agencies. So when you see the map on the right, in every region, pretty much, there is a regional development agency which focuses on international expansion of their own region, basically. So they are helping companies who decided to expand or just open a business or expand the business in the Netherlands, then these offices are very key contacts for such plans, because they have a really amazing network of critical contacts, networks, ecosystems, technology centers, and the work markets, labor markets. So these critical access point for these critical accesses, those regions are really helpful, and we are working together with harmony with the regions, and as the government, we are there to help you in your future plans. Well, that's the general idea of what we do. Basically, we just connect you with local networks and regulators, clusters, and consultants if you need it. If you need, we can inform deeply and in detail about incentives, business locations, and regulations for your own business, and we can organize some custom-made fact-finding trips for your investment to help you to see and make those first connections right before your final decision. And we provide all of this with confidentiality and free support. So please feel free to connect and contact with us if you have any interest or any thing just came into your mind. Just send us a mail or just give us a call. We are always here to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the important information that you share with us. So if there are any questions that you would like to address to the speakers, please feel free to write them in the chat box.
Or even we can even ask people to talk, I think.
Yeah. Yes. I think if you can stop the sharing the share screen. Yes, thank you so much. So we can see everybody. If not, you please do not forget that you can also address all the questions via email on info@nrcc.com. So thank you very much for being here today with us, and for everything that you shared with us, and thank you all for participating to this webinar. Do not forget that tomorrow there will be 2 sessions. First with Mazar Romania regarding tax highlights for the year-end closing. That will start at 11:30 a.m. And then starting with 3:30 p.m. there will be Lugher and Master, Business in HR in the Netherlands. So if you haven't registered yet, please get in touch with the NRCC team and just register on the Zoom. 1 second, we have a message. So, okay, hi Elena, if you'd like to say also something, you have introduced yourself, if you have any questions.
Hi everybody, thank you for this presentation. Now I just wanted to present the Smart Alliance Innovation IT Cluster, as we just discussed about clusters and IT. So we are a cluster from Bucharest, and we are very active, and we have a large number of members that are very interested in the Netherlands market, and we would like to create some synergies between us in order to see if we can have some investors in Netherlands, and also why not customers for our companies here in Bucharest. So I'm looking forward to have your proposals and why not your messages.
Thank you, Ilana. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
maybe thanks, Diana. We already contact many clusters in Romania as well. Maybe we did yours, maybe not. I have noted your contact details, so afterwards we will contact you to see if we can have a collaboration on the tech companies located in your
That's
cluster.
great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
So anybody else would like to address anything to our speakers? They are here in front of you. So
I see Mike raising his hand.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being with you. It's 2:30 in the morning for me. I'm on the other side of the globe. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. So just a quick question. I did send a message in the group chat, but I have a question. We're looking to actually get incorporated in Amsterdam as well. So we have a company which is incorporated in Canada, in UK, in the US, in India, in Romania as well. So would there be any potential assistance for that process? Any one of you that could answer that question, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Sure, we have also at the embassy in Canada, we have also NFVA. So if you can share your contact details or send us an email, we can introduce you to our colleagues in Canada. If you're a Canadian company in that regard, we can always introduce you to them.
Thank you so much. I did share my email is in the group chat. So thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Mike, one small question: where is the decision makers are located of your company?
I am the decision maker. So we have about 30 people worldwide, 17 people in Canada, and another 15 or so across and around the world. But the main company is located in Vancouver, Canada, and then we have subsidiaries in the US, UK, India, Romania. Now we are in the process of actually launching a legal entity in China, as well as in the Middle East, in the UAE.
Okay, perfect. Then if it is Canada, like Nejla mentioned, we can gladly forward it to our Canadian office. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I by the way, I did send you an invitation on LinkedIn. So hopefully, hopefully we can connect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
thank you, Mike. We still have like 10 minutes, so I'm encouraging you to address questions or. Okay, Serge, if you want to say something at the end of the event, maybe?
No, I think I just hope that everybody was able to ask his questions and get the input. And I would like to thank the Stefan from the Dutch Embassy, Nekla and her colleague from the NVA for giving the presentations and the insights. I think that is very insightful. I hope that the presentation that was given can be shared. I think it's a very interesting deck highlighting many of the different strong points of the Netherlands as a country. So I would probably use or copy part of it whenever I need to give an overview of the Netherlands myself. I think better to copy than to invent something that is not as good. So thank you very much. And also thanks for the participants and the questions. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the program this week.
Thank you very much. So again, thank you all for being here with us today. Congratulations NRCC for this event, and wishing you all a happy holiday, happy Christmas and a happy New Year, and have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for organizing it and participating.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.